What's up, my people, and welcome back to another video. So this video is going to be a tier list video, and we're going to be ranking all of the weapons currently in Apex Legends on a tier list. So this is a season 10 tier list, so all the weapons currently in like their current state is how we're going to be basing this tier list off or whatever. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. This is also going to be based off of my opinion, so you can leave your opinions on what your tier list is in the comment section. Okay, let's get into it. So let's start off with F tier, shall we? So the one and only weapon I'm going to be putting in F tier is the Spitfire. I'm not even going to talk about it. Now, let's move into what weapons I think are in D tier. So starting off at the bottom of D tier, P2020. It's pretty arguably the weakest weapon in the game. It's a decent sidearm, it's okay off drop, but it's pretty much meant to be the weakest weapon in the game, to be honest. Like, maybe if it was still able to equip hammer points, I would put it higher. But honestly, it's just a D tier weapon. And I think that's the only D tier weapon we're going to have. So let's move on to the C tier weapons. So at the bottom of C tier, I think we are going to... I'm trying to find where it is right now. I think we will have... Still looking for it. The charge rifle. The charge rifle is a pretty strong weapon, but the one thing that brings it down is its versatility. It lacks in versatility. Like, it's pretty accurate. Like, it's a hit scan weapon, true hit scan weapon. It's pretty crazy, but it doesn't really fit like much into an aggressive meta. Like, it's a really annoying, really decent weapon and like poking at long ranges or whatever, but it's just, I don't know, it's just not my type of weapon. I don't really vibe with it too much. It's really strong in the one circumstance of long ranges, but I just feel like, yeah, the lack of versatility just brings it down for me. Okay, the next weapon that's going to be going in C tier, in the middle of C tier, is the Sentinel. The Sentinel is another really good weapon, but it's an interesting one. Like, I think it's really good. Like, the shield cells, being able to use them to like amp up its damage to make it really a lot more powerful is really good, and you can really do some insane plays with the Sentinel. Its hipfire, it's meh. I feel like it's like one of the more higher skilled weapons in the game, to be honest. Like, in terms of it being a sniper, like, you really need to be a lot more careful with your shots with this thing and a lot more precise. But I still feel like it's a really decent weapon, which is pretty much why I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt being in C tier. But it's just not... there's just something about that's a little off. And also, if I change my mind, I will revise my tier list at the end. So, yeah. Next up, what I think I'm going to put at the height of the C tier is the Kraber. Surprisingly, a care package weapon in C tier, which I didn't expect, but it's kind of similar to the other two. Like, well, the Sentinel's a little more versatile, but similar to Charge Rifle, it just lacks in versatility. Like, it's a really high-skilled weapon, which is why I'm putting it at the height of C tier, because it is technically like a really strong weapon, but you gotta be really precise with it. And just with like the low ammo count you have, you really need to make every shot count with this thing. Once those shots hit, though, they hit hard and they hit good. Like, the Kraber is honestly really insane, but I just feel like there's some fields where it lacks in that really don't make it like one of the top tier weapons for me. So surprisingly, this is a care package weapon that will be in C tier, but the Kraber is still an amazing weapon nonetheless. Next up, I think we're gonna be moving on to B tier now. So what weapon will I put in B tier first? I think at the bottom B tier we'll put the RE45. The RE45, I think, it's an okay weapon. It can be a really decent sidearm. I like the iron sights on it, but honestly, why do the iron sights have to matter? Like, it's a really unique weapon as being a full auto pistol, and it can be really decent. Like, but I feel like You kind of got to make every shot count with this thing, but I don't really know. It's a really decent weapon, decent off drop. You could probably carry it on throughout the entire game if you're really dedicated, but I don't feel like it's one of the higher tier weapons, so I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it in B tier. Next weapon I'll put in B tier is the bow check. The bow check is a really strong weapon. It's a high skill, high reward weapon, and yeah, but I feel like you got to be really skilled enough to make this thing really insane. I do feel like it's really good though. Like if you hit those shots, they can hit so hard and so good. Like it's a really insane weapon. Like I feel like the shatter caps work really well on it as well. Like that feature, the shatter caps in general are just underrated. But yeah, the bow check, you got to be really precise with it, which is probably why it's a little lower in B tier for me. But it's still really strong nonetheless. Just slightly overrated, but still can be a really good weapon if you know how to use it. Its hipfire can also be decent, although I have the worst luck with hipfire on this weapon. Oh yeah, bow check bow, it's in lower B tier for me. Next up in B tier, where is it? We're gonna put the Mastiff in. The Mastiff, I still feel like is a decent shotgun, but I do feel like it's not as great as the Peacekeeper or the EVA 8. Like you got to be a lot more precise with the Mastiff. Like it's probably the highest skilled shotgun to use, to be honest, because you got an ADS and then absolutely land your shots in this thing. Like those shots though can hit pretty hard. You just got to be really dedicated, really consistent with the Mastiff, which can be hard. But I feel like it still has some really good potential of being a really strong weapon. And that's why I put it in B tier. I want to give it the benefit of the doubt. The iron sights though on this weapon, like I think they work really well with how the weapon operates. This is the only case where I think the iron sights kind of do matter, because the iron sights do show like where they kind of show you like the pattern of the shot or whatever. So Mastiff is in B tier for me. The next B tier weapon is the 30-30 repeater, and it's in higher B tier for me. The 30-30 I feel like is a really, really decent weapon. Really strong. Like the little does more damage when you're ADSing. It does a little charge up thing. That's really good and makes it really unique and strong weapon. Like, and there's also, and its projectile speed also got increased, which makes it a little more of an accurate weapon, a little more precise, which has made it a little better. Also, like the shatter caps I think work so well on this thing. Like that's what makes it fit into the meta a lot more. Like and it does a decent amount of damage as well. The 30-30 is just an overall like decent weapon, a solid weapon in my opinion. Its hipfire can be used pretty well too. Like I think 30-30 is at the height of B tier for me. And I think this might be the last weapon I put in B tier, the G7 Scout. The G7 Scout, in my opinion, is really strong. Like, it's a really good at like the medium to far ranges. Its hipfire, kind of meh. Like I feel like, but with the medium and long ranges, though, that's where it shines the most, and it can be so strong, so much of a nuisance. Like great for farming damage. I can say the same for 30-30 and a bow check. Like it's crazy. The G7 can just be insane, but I feel like it lacks a little bit in versatility, which is why I'm not putting it in A tier. It does a really good damage though, and it's a decent weapon overall. Like I'm chill with it, and I think that's gonna be it for B tier? Question mark. I think that might be it for B tier. I don't know. Okay, now let's try to move up to A tier, and I think I might actually have quite a few weapons in here. So to kind of kick us off with A tier, the Longbow. Longbow, I think, is the best sniper in the game. Like it just hits so hard, and it's such a. I feel like it's might just be as rewarding as the Kraber to hit shots with this thing, especially if they're going up a zip line and you hip fire shots and they land, or doing quick scopes. Like that just feels so rewarding. I've done that before in like that one of the buildings on World's Edge, and going up the zip lines and stuff and hitting those quick scopes. Like it's just I think it's a really fun sniper to use, and even though it's like not really, it doesn't fit into the meta too well, it's so strong, can be so much of a nuisance, so good at farming damage. Like my first 2k damage game was with the Longbow. Most of my high damage games were with the Longbow, and this weapon holds a place in my heart. It's just a really good sniper overall. It's just so insane. The next weapon I'm going to be putting in A tier, is the Hemlock, higher than the Longbow. The Hemlock is really good as well. Like, with the hop up, the boosted loader, I think that's brought it up, definitely. Like, it can just be so strong. The single fire makes it really good for, like, longer ranges, and the burst makes it good for up close to mid range. Like, it's an all-around good weapon. Like, I just feel like it's one of those solid weapons that you can just frag out with all over. Like, it's insane. The Hemlock is really good, honestly. But I don't think I have too much to say. Next up in A tier, I think we are going to put the R99. The R99 is one of the highest DPS weapons in the game. It is really strong. It's a high skill, high reward weapon. Like, it's just all around really good, and a sweat ball weapon. Like, it's so fun to use the R99. Like, it's a really fun weapon to use, and just one clipping someone can feel so good with this weapon. Like, it's really strong, a little tiny terror threat, although I feel like it's a little overrated, because honestly I feel like the Hemlock overshines the R99, so I'm gonna put it above it. I don't know, because the R99 is like, I don't know. I'm gonna try to revise stuff at the end instead of now. But yeah, the R99 is just really strong, like, but it's a little overrated in the sense that its fast fire rate can really throw you off, and you really gotta be super precise with it. But other than that, like, the R99 is super strong. Definitely an A tier weapon for me. Next up, we have the triple take, which I am going to be putting in A tier as well, if I can. Yeah, there we go. So the triple take is another really strong weapon. It was a sniper, and I'm still going to call it a sniper for now. It's a marksman weapon now, but I'll call it a sniper for now. I would say it's the most versatile sniper. Like, it can be used as a shotgun up close. It's just crazy, the triple take. Like, it's all around good at, like, all ranges, pretty much. Like, it's just, it's disgusting, the triple take. It's so sad to see it in the care package now. But it's crazy. Triple take, definitely an A tier weapon. The scope that it comes equipped with is also really nice as well. Kind of similar to the Mastiff sights. Really gives you a good view at where the shots are going to go and how exactly the pattern is. So I really like that about the triple take. Definitely an A tier weapon, in my opinion. Next up in A tier, we have the Prowler. Now, the Prowler, I feel like, is definitely one of the best SMGs. Well, yeah. The Prowler, just the burst mode is super crazy. It's a shame that they got rid of the auto fire, or the full auto for the Prowler, but it's just so crazy. Like, the hip fire is absolutely broken on this thing. First of all, you land those shots, it's just devastating. Like, the Prowler is absolutely insane, although it's not as versatile as the Volt, though, which makes me think the Volt's a little better. Like, the Prowler is better for, like, close ranges, but with the 2x, though, this thing might have a fighting chance at mid-range. The Prowler is just overall really strong, a really good weapon. Even after its nerf, I still feel like it's really viable and really good. So Prowler is an A tier. Next up in A tier, we have the Peacekeeper. The Peacekeeper is really strong, but I do feel like it's a little overrated, because, like, I feel like it's a little inconsistent, but hitting those shots is really good. Like, the Peacekeeper is definitely a really strong weapon. The precision choke, like, you're able to constrict the shots more, which can help at a little bit of a distance. Like, the Peacekeeper is just crazy. Another sweaty weapon, another high skill, high reward one. It's really good, really solid, and definitely the most popular shotgun. So I gotta give it for being such a really insane weapon, even though I think it's slightly overrated. So I'm putting it in A tier. Next up in A tier, we have the Alternator. The Alternator, honestly, like, I probably would have put it, I'm kind of on the fence of putting it in B or A, but I think I'm gonna put it in A, because getting put in the care package with the disruptor round feature, I think really did bring it up a little bit. And honestly, its hipfire is crazy. Like, its hipfire is really underrated. Like, it's just a really overall viable SMG. Like, it's a really reliable, and it can be really fun to use sometimes, especially how, like, it got the disruptor rounds back. And it could possibly be really devastating if you're using it super well. Like the Alternator, it's a really strong now. It's a care package weapon. I probably would have put it in B tier though if it wasn't in the care package. So yeah, Alternator, really strong as of now. Like I think it's solid A tier. Next up we have the Rampage in A tier. The Rampage is disgusting, honestly. Like it's more so a mid to long range weapon, a lot more high skilled than the other LMGs, but it is still insane. Like that, the high damage per shot it has, absolutely crazy. Like its hip fire is also pretty decent, but adding the thermite into it just makes it a beast. Like it brings it up to Spitfire fire rate, and it's just insane. Like the Rampage, like how can no one put it in A tier at least? Like it's very strong, in my opinion. And yeah, I feel like it is a solid A tier weapon. Now, were there any other weapons where I was gonna put in A tier question mark? Oh wait, I forgot about one weapon to put in B tier, and that was the Mozambique. The Mozambique, honestly, it's a really viable sidearm. In my opinion, probably the best sidearm in the game. Like it can do some pretty decent damage even at a little bit of a further range. You put it 2 times on it. Like those constricted shots honestly make it really viable. Like I'm always buying the Mozambique in arenas because it's just a really good sidearm for like finishing off the enemies, and even off drop it can work well. Maybe you could probably even use it throughout the entire game of Battle Royale and it could still be really viable. Like I feel like the Mozambique is a solid sidearm weapon, and I'm putting it in B tier. Okay, sorry I forgot about that one. Let's go back to A tier now with the Wingman. The Wingman I've been starting to use a little more lately, and it can be really fun to use, honestly. Like it's again like the Peacekeeper, the R99. Like it's a high skill, high reward weapon. Like it's like in the right hands, it's just so strong. And if you really dedicate yourself to using this weapon a lot more, you can become really good with it, and you can just fry with this thing. Like the Wingman is crazy, although a tad bit overrated. It's still crazy. Definitely worth picking it up and trying to use it. Now, let's get into what I think are the S tier weapons of Apex Legends. Starting off with the Volt. The Volt, in my opinion, is probably the best SMG. Like, it's probably the most versatile. Like, you can use this at a little bit of a distance. It's probably the most viable along with the Alternator. The Alternator, though, it's a care package weapon, but the Volt, honestly, it's just really decent, really good. And I think it actually does have a little bit of a faster DPS than the Prowler, I think, which is surprising. But the Volt, I just feel like it can be really disgusting. Like, its versatility is really good. It's such a viable choice. Like, it's a reliable weapon. It's really good. Next up in S tier, the L-Star. The All-Star has really, like, become a lot more popular this season. And honestly, I don't think it shouldn't have taken this long for the All-Star to become popular. Like, it took attachments for it to become popular, which, I don't know. But the All-Star is really insane, really disgusting. Like, the overheat feature, like, you probably won't even ever have to reload this thing. You just gotta be careful of the amount of ammo you're using at once. Like, it's just so disgusting, so crazy. Like, it's finally getting the love it deserves. The L-Star, insane. Its hip fire is also really decent. It can be decent at a little bit longer ranges, but the L-Star is good at what it's supposed to be doing, and it is not really like the other LMGs. It's a lot more unique than the other LMGs, but it is like it's crazy. The L-Star is crazy. And next up in S tier, we have the EVA 8. The EVA 8, in my opinion, arguably the best shotgun and the most consistent one. Like, it did get a nerf thing in Season 10 to its fire rate, but I don't really think that did much. Like, it's still so powerful. If you manage to hit those shots, it can be so detrimental. Like, it's also a really fun weapon to just get up close and personal to enemies and just frag out. Like, it's really crazy. You don't need ADS to, like, make the shots more consistent either, which is also really nice as well. It is a really, really detrimental weapon, and yeah, really rewarding if you're able to hit all those shots and absolutely decimate. So yeah. Next up in S tier, the R301. Like, the R301 is honestly probably the most reliable weapon in the game. All around, a very versatile weapon. Its hipfire can be used really well. Iron Sight's probably the best iron sights in the game, even though, like, again, I don't really think iron sights matter too much. Like, it's disgusting too. Like, it has a decent fire rate as well. Again, very versatile. You can use it in a variety of ranges. Probably not super long ranges though. But the R301, it's the old reliable, really good weapon. Like, fairly balanced as well. Like, I just feel like the R301 it's just there. It hits well. Next up, the Flatline. Flatline is one of my favorites. Its hipfire is decent, although I have such bad luck with its hipfire. Like, the Flatline is just crazy as well. Super disgusting. It's almost on par with the R301. Both of them do very similar jobs. Flatline, though, is a little better up close, but it is so disgusting. Like, it is insane. Such high damage. Like, it's just right there. Arguably the best assault. Well, I'd probably say the R301 was the best assault rifle, but the Flatline, it still hits different. Still absolutely insane. Next up in S tier, my favorite weapon, another one of my favorite weapons, the Havoc. The Havoc, oh my gosh, it's so underrated. Like, it deserves a lot more appreciation for what it is. Like, even without attachments, I still feel like it can just be so good, like first round of arenas or even off drop. It's the cheapest assault rifle in arenas too. Like, you can buy a shield battery and a medkit like in the first round if you just buy a Havoc without leveling it up. Like, it's just crazy. It's a crazy weapon. Like, its DPS I think is even a little bit better than the R99s. Like, the Havoc is just disgusting. Like, putting a turbocharger on it also makes it super crazy. Its hipfire can be really crazy as well. The Havoc is an all-around really good choice in my opinion, and I think I might be the only one that's putting it in S tier or making it like an S tier weapon. It's just such a good weapon in my opinion. It's super disgusting. Go ahead and use the Havoc. And next up in S tier, I think we all saw it coming, the Devotion. I think this might be the most weapons in any S tier for any tier list. The Devotion, it's just disgusting. Like, there's no secret that the Devotion is just super strong. Like, turbocharger on it is so detrimental. Like, its recoil's a little kicky, but if you get the hang of it, like, it's just nuts. The Devotion, super insane. Its hipfire can still be used a little bit decently. You just gotta be a little more precise with it. But the Devotion's disgusting. Like, I don't think I have much to say other than it's just such a crazy weapon. Like, oh my goodness. Okay, I think we're finished up with the tier list for now. Now let's try to do a little bit of revising. So I think what we'll do is I'm actually considering putting the Hemlock at the top of A tier now. And what else? Actually, I think I might try to keep the Rampage at the top of A tier. What else am I going to change? I think we'll put the Triple Take here. And maybe the R99 up here. Actually, I think I'm going to put a little over the Peacekeeper. Same with the Prowler. I'm going to put Prowler over the R99. Longbow, I'm debating if I should put it in B tier or not. I actually think I'm going to put the RE45 over the Bowcheck. And I think that's good for that. I think... You know what? I'm going to put the Sentinel over the Kraber. Just because I feel like... Yeah, I don't know. Because the Kraber already has like a scope attached to it, you can't get that off. Like, I feel like there's a lot more potential with the Sentinel in terms of that case. I think I'm fine with where the charge rifle is. Any weapons I want to get rid of an S tier? I think I'm going to move the L-Star down a little bit. Like, I don't know. Actually, I think I might move the L-Star back up a little bit. And maybe move the EVA 8 down a little bit. That's fine, I think. I think I'll keep the EVA 8 there. And is that good? I don't really know. I think the Fine's good right there. R31's good right there. All-Star's good right there. Volt's good right there. I still kind of want to move the All-Star down a little. No, I'm keeping the All-Star there. So I think they'll keep the Rampage there, the Hemlock there. The Wingman I actually might put down a little bit. I think I'll move the Wingman down a little bit. And then the Prowler. I actually think I'm going to move the Prowler up again. And the R99 up again as well. The Peacekeeper, I'll just kind of keep right there. The Longbow, I'm going to... It's both A tier and high B tier in my opinion, so this one could either go anywhere, but I'm going to keep it in A tier. And that's the tier list, I'm pretty sure. Is there any weapons I forgot? A lot of these are duplicates. So, yeah, all those are duplicates. So this is my tier list. So, I actually think I'm just going to keep this as Spitfire tier because I don't even want to consider this weapon. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and rank the Spitfire. By still keeping it in Spitfire tier. Yeah, I'm not even going to consider tiering it, just keeping it in the Spitfire tier. Or whatever. So yeah, so let's look over our tiers again. So in the D tier, we have the P20. This C tier, low C tier, we have the Charge Rifle. Mid C tier, Kraber. High C tier, Sentinel. Low B tier, the Bow Check. Low B tier as well, the RE45. Mid B tier, the Mozambique and Mastiff. High B tier, 3030 and G7. Low A tier, we have the Longbow, Peacekeeper, and Triple Take. Mid A tier, we have the R99, Prowler, and Wingman. In the high A tier, we have Alternator, Hemlock, and Rampage. Low S tier, we have the EVA 8, the Volt, and L-Star. And then mid S tier, we have the R301 and Flatline. And high S tier, we have Havoc and Devotion. I'm confident in this list. I think I'm good with the choices. I think I'm a little on point. And again, this is all based off of my opinion, so yeah. And yeah, this is going to be all for this tier list video, so if you didn't end up liking it, then be sure to give it a like. And if you're brand new here to the channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on that bell icon so you get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Also, be sure to join the Discord server. The link will be in the description. Also, I have a Guilded server, so if you have Guilded and are looking for any servers to join, I'll leave a link to that in the description too. Also, be sure to follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/3LNEX. Yeah, once again, that's all going to be all for this video. Let me know what your weapons tier list is in the comment section, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.